Ladies and gentlemen, pull out your hair ties. It's time to let your hair down and truly get funky.
Welcome to another episode of All That's Hair, a podcast that will explore the business of beauty, from the origins of the art of hairdressing to how hair salons have evolved to meet the changing ideal of beauty. We'll talk about the challenges hairdressers and salon owners alike face in the 21st century with historical context and a vision for a better industry. I'm joined today once more by father and son duo, practically born of beauty, Leonardo and Marco Redavid. Hey, guys.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Yes. How are you guys doing?
Oh, great.
Doing good, thank you.
I got my morning coffee ready to go.
Nice.
That's a cool looking mug.
I've had my double espresso, my frittata, and my full-size coffee, so I'm ready.
Oh, that's nice. What is that? Somebody made it. Is that a cat or something?
It's a hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
Nice.
Oh, cool. I like it. It's a nice one.
That's awesome.
Somebody put some love in there.
Yeah, it's a really cool artist. She hand makes all these mugs. So we've collected a few of them.
Nice.
Well, today for episode 3, I thought we'd change something up a little bit and talk about something dirty.
Oh boy.
We're going to be talking about that dirty diversion.
Yes.
I think a lot of salon owners, stylists, still to this day don't understand a lot about diversion, how products end up in quote unquote unauthorized channels, which manufacturers are really, supporting it, which aren't, what we're doing about it, that kind of thing. And I thought I'd start off with a little story. So, little news piece. So last April 20th, a brand new 2-story concept salon opened in London. It's brilliantly lit, well-stocked, and with cutting-edge technology that included tablets at every station that offered augmented reality hair color try-ons. Now, in their retail area, every single product has point and learn technology, where a customer can simply point at a displayed product, and instantly they'll see brand videos and how-to content on a screen. Lastly, every product that's on the shelves has a special QR code on it, so customers can simply click, scan, and then they'll have it delivered to their home the next day. Meaning the salon carries no inventory, so they've got no overhead there. And the customer doesn't have to lug bags around London. Now, the name of the salon was Amazon.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep. They are coming for everybody's business. It's crazy.
Well, they're very bright because as everybody knows, when you walk into a department store, it's the first thing you walk into is cosmetics, and it's the biggest money making, and they want it.
Let's stopping and thinking about, how weird is it when e-commerce has decimated the landscape of brick and mortar to now turn around and brick and mortar concept stores, e-tailers kind of popping back up again. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's I forget what it's called. I think it's Amazon Fresh or Amazon Go in Seattle. And they just literally, you don't even pay for your stuff. You just walk in and grab what you want and leave. And it all goes by your phone and scans it and it knows what you've pulled and stuff. It's pretty wild. So there's no checkouts. There's no tellers, nothing. You just grab and go.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's weird, but Amazon has become such a titanic entity that continues to grow. And I guess the key when you become that large an entity is diversification.
Yeah.
And so they're really diversifying in multiple ways and realized their beauty category, their prestige beauty category has been growing in leaps and bounds. The professional brands that they have on there are sold through independent third parties as well as now some brand manufacturers. particularly because of the COVID impact on our industry, with salons shutting down, and manufacturers, thinking about what exactly are we going to do. That event spurred them into getting involved in Amazon for the first time, and a lot of people, chomped on that bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're looking for more streams of revenue through the pandemic, and especially the big companies that are publicly traded and don't want to show a loss on that balance sheet. They're going to take whatever sales and whatever revenue stream that they can get to keep growth going and to keep investors happy. And Amazon is probably the easiest one to go to if you're not already on there and selling. It's quick to get set up and to get going. And but it's definitely, in my opinion, the number one challenge for salons and the number one competitor. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard hairdressers tell me that their customers, they'll be talking about a product and their customers will just search it on their phone on Amazon and order it right in front of their eyes because it's, $6-7 cheaper online. And they'll just, it's on my Prime account, and they'll just order it. And, some places in Vancouver here and some items, you can get 2-hour delivery now off of Amazon.
That is crazy.
So, they've found a way to compete in every aspect, in every business. I mean, I was talking to my wife, and she likes to order clothes on Amazon, but the biggest challenge is knowing if it's going to fit you, right? So now you can buy as much as you want. Amazon will ship you a wardrobe box with the clothes. You can try them on and then ship whatever back you don't use, and they just charge you for what you kept, which is just insane to me. Like that's how they're competing with those brick and mortar stores where you get the chance to try things on and to go. So wherever there's a challenge for online sales, Amazon seems to be finding a solution and a way to combat. And I mean, it's a giant that's not stopping. It's a $1 trillion business now.
They just have everything to be able to hire, the best minds to be able to figure out, a solution. And
they've got the money to do it too. Yeah. There's no barriers to anything for them. They'll throw money at it, try to find solutions for sure.
For our industry, hairstylists have to find some really nice boutique lines like ourselves that, we do not, sell on Amazon.
It's I love reading origin stories and kind of paths not taken from some larger brands. And I was reading a really interesting article in Inc.com about the rise of Walmart, and it's that same kind of parallel where you have someone that becomes, for anyone who doesn't know, there's a concept in business called the industry life cycle, and every single business is subjected to it, where you have an origin point for an industry, and then it rises and gets to a point where the marketplace becomes saturated and it consolidates down. So you have a few big name players, and then what that consolidation does is, because the industry becomes kind of stagnant, because everything is so consolidated under one entity with one culture, one way of operating, they tend not to focus on innovation. So it creates opportunities for smaller businesses to come up with a new concept, and then they take off. Like Walmart did to a number on brick and mortar department stores, really decimated them. And it becomes that buying power. When you become that big a company, you simply cannot compete on price.
They can have the whole production facility just for themselves. That's how big they are. They don't even have to go and try to buy it off somebody. They could just put a manufacturer.
Well, you can see the inequity between that and the smaller companies, especially now in the pandemic. Walmart is chartering private planes and private ships and to get their products in. The little guys can't do that. They're at the mercy of waiting and of, trying to get those deals. And these companies are, making their own ships and bringing them over and having full shiploads and containers. It's pretty crazy. It's hard to compete for sure. It really is. You kind of have to differentiate yourself with the service that you offer. I feel, that's really the only way now, because the price, you're not going to be able to compete with them, and, the ease really. So it's a tough situation for sure.
The hairdressers have to start using their creativity to be very unique in their, places, Marco. And I think that they can do it. They just have to really start doing some research on what they carry, and, that they can't get that product anywhere else except their own, beautiful little salon that makes them so unique.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. Sometimes you go in certain stores that they have all these different hand artists that they, like your cup, you won't be able to find that, anywhere. And they have to start getting very boutique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes, to Marco's point too, when you're focused so much on value and you can't compete on price, you can always win on creating experience. You can create a connection based on creating like a bespoke experience, something really unique for that client. And moreover, you're able to do something that Amazon has not yet found a way to do, which is to truly analyze and consult. There are particularly during the pandemic, some new companies popped up whose names escape me, but their model essentially was answering that question. It was started by a stylist, and you essentially take samples of your hair, you mail it to them. They'll do like a DNA profile of it, and then create like a custom hair care regimen for you, and then drop ship it to you, and that becomes your thing. Another great example is there's a company that you answer kind of a questionnaire. They'll build and formulate a product specifically for you, and then drop ship it to you, where the formula is uniquely customized to your hair's conditioning characteristics, and your even genetic profile. That kind of technology is a great way of looking forward into the future versus competing on price. It becomes something about innovation than it is about, who has the cheapest price.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's another component of Amazon that I don't think a lot of people know about. So it's on June 24th of 2019 is when they opened their professional beauty store. And they were looking to get Amazon into the business-to-business business, where you could buy all your salon supplies from hair color to massage tables and have it drop shipped to you. It does restrict the sale of professional use products, so buyers have to input their license. That hasn't seemed to have taken off. They only have a few manufacturers, professional manufacturers, who've partnered with them on that. But it's an example that
I can't imagine too many distributors would be happy with their professional manufacturers jumping on that train. That would be a tough one, especially for color. That's the bread and butter for many distributors, and the amount of sales that are happening. Schwarzkopf, I was reading an article yesterday. They do 1 million tubes of color a month or a quarter, which is crazy. And just last week, they did 300,000 tubes of Igora in 1 week because the demand is just going insane. And, you take that away from a distributor and start selling on Amazon, that's going to cause some problems for sure.
Yeah.
And just supply chain issues that we've had because of the pandemic. Now that salons are back open, they're seeing a return from existing customers and new customers in a way that they hadn't before. Like our industry is really booming right now, particularly with color, where people are over not having color, and now they just want to get back to, creating their own kind of unique hair look, chasing hair trends and that kind of thing.
Totally.
How go ahead, Leo.
Color makes you feel good.
It does.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Well, I think it's big shampoo and big corporations buying up, the companies and taking over and looking for every revenue stream possible and looking for every single dollar that they could possibly get, whether it be in professional, retail, online. It was crazy. First it was the drugstores, right? That's where you started seeing professional brands popping up. And we were in Texas, and in Canada, it's a little different. We don't have drugstores have a few professional brands, but nothing like it was in the US. And the first time we went to Texas and we went to a CVS.
It was a 12-foot wall.
Yeah, it was. We went to CVS and to get some sunscreen. And we're like, let's just take a look at what they carry for shampoo. And it was all the professional beauty brands from, Paul Mitchell to Kenra, to Amika, to
Olaplex.
Sebastian, to Olaplex. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. These so-called professional brands were sitting on drugstore shelves. And, even further, we went into a place called HEB, which is a Texas grocery store chain. I think they got hundreds of stores. I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but it's kind of like a Walmart, exactly like a Walmart. And, we saw they have a professional beauty section that had merchandise displays, like full displays of Olaplex, like cardboard cutout displays and shelf talkers and displays. I mean, you're not getting that from an unauthorized third-party reseller. You're getting that from the manufacturer, which is crazy to me. That type of stuff is happening, and it started in the drugstore level, and then obviously Amazon came around. But yeah, the drugstores too. I mean, that right there is convenience for a customer. So say, their salon carries a product that they buy from their hairdresser, but they're out of shampoo and their appointment isn't for 2 weeks at their hairdresser, but they're at CVS once a week grabbing whatever. They're not going to wait to shampoo their hair and go or make a second trip to go to their hairdresser. They're going to buy that shampoo or conditioner or product that they use at the CVS because it's convenient, or at, the HEB or the Walmarts or whatever. So, it's tough for the hairdressers to compete against the drugstores too.
Yeah. They're getting
an idea that kind of popped into my mind is like, the salons, I feel that when they recommend a product to them, that automatically, they should be shipping it, to their home, that it's a consistency. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the better salons, Leo, have finally cracked that code. Like the salon that we go to, they know exactly when we're going to run out of product.
Nice.
So in between appointments, they'll have the product ready and say, okay, you should be ready for your shampoo and conditioner. Or they'll ask if we want it drop shipped. And then they just add it onto our ticket. So they just ship it to us, and then we pay the shipping fees once we have our next appointment.
The salon has to start getting creative. If Amazon could ship it, right away, so is the salon, and keep it, constantly going, and give them a card that they get a stamp, and they get some sort of a gift when they're purchased. So it's all about being, again, back being boutique-ish, when you're dealing with your customer.
Yeah, some salons too, what they'll do is they'll bundle products with essential services. And I've seen this with hair color. I've seen it with keratin treatments, extensions, where the success of the service is dependent on the product that they're using at home. So because you want to offset customer dissatisfaction, because no matter how many times you tell a customer don't do something, they're gonna use whatever's in the shower without really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna blame you for it. If extensions fall out or your color bleeds, or so salons are bundling the products together and then just giving it to the customer on checkout, rolling the price of the products into the cost of the service, and then positioning it as, you get a free gift bag that has all of your care product. It's going to last you 3 to 4 weeks and blah, blah, blah. Like that's a great way to go, because it also, it avoids having the retail conversation with a client where you're trying to convince them that yes, you do need this product.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one. Definitely, I would put it to work in my salon for sure.
And salons are pretty pissed off and frustrated, and this isn't a new frustration. I mean, we're now almost 2 decades into this feeling of betrayal and anger over a stylist who commits to a product line, uses it for a long time, that product line sells out, or that product line all of a sudden is found down the street from her, or found in a department store, when they're the ones who built that manufacturer.
Yeah.
Like it's your dollar. They became successful because you believed in them. And because our industry is still very, Leo, we were talking about it in the first episode. This is a people business. No matter how much it evolves, we're not big consumer beauty. This is a very much a face-to-face personal business. And that personalization really comes down to how stylists feel about the product lines that they use and the partnerships that they make. So it does become like a betrayal and feeling betrayed to the point go ahead.
It's just the hairdressers haven't spoken up, as much as they used to in the days when, Joico started or Sebastian started. Like hairdressers would absolutely freak out when they used to see it, in a retail store,
Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, they freak out, but they speak up with their actions. They stop carrying the line.
Yeah.
They drop it. He used to be the perfect example. He would look for, smaller lines from different places that weren't available anywhere. And the minute they became mainstream or the minute they popped up on a retail shelf, that was gone. Like it was out of his salon faster than you could say, that's how you hurt that company. You need to drop that product and find something that's still exclusive or that lives up to their word. And, one of the toughest things we deal with, especially when we were launching with Cosmoprof, was our biggest selling feature was, you can't buy Redavid on Amazon. It's not there. You cannot find Redavid. Within 2 months, there was 25 sellers of our product on Amazon after the launch. And it was, some of the angriest phone calls I got were from hairdressers saying, I thought you said you couldn't buy your product on Amazon. My customer just showed me a $5 cheaper bottle here and they didn't buy it and they didn't get it on Amazon. And I was like, holy cow. All right, well, we need to try to figure out what to do here, because initially when we were a little bit smaller, it was easier to police, it was easier to manage. But then when you launch with a massive giant and, like Cosmoprof, there's a lot of different people buying your product that are looking for different areas to sell it. And, all of those people signed an anti-diversion agreement when they signed up for their Cosmoprof card. It's part of sign up for their account. It's part of that fine print that says you cannot divert product and sell in unauthorized channels like online or Amazon or, putting it out the back door to a retail chain like HEB or Walmart. And, it's something that we've had to police like crazy to keep our product off of there. But it is a necessary evil to keep those salons happy and to live up to our word. And that's, when it comes down to it, that's what it's all about, right?
It's just that, the companies, they're just so big and, they have to keep that, that giant wheel really turning. And, for us, the beauty industry, the professional beauty industry, it's enough distribution, enough income that we as a company would be very happy as the company grows. Where, they just want more growth and more growth and more growth. And, that's when you start plugging into everybody else's, right?
Because once you get in with a publicly traded company, they're going to want that sky to keep raising no matter how many salons there are in your territory. And,
exactly.
I'll tell you a fun, interesting story. And I know I've told you guys this one before. The beauty supply distributor that I was first working at, we started out, we were the biggest Wella distributor in New England. And then, once P&G bought out Wella and then Sebastian came on board, we started to see a real change in the way that business was being done. So many diverted products that end up in different places come from a few different spots. It can come from manufacturers who are selling out the back door. It can come from distributors who are selling out the back door. It can come from distributors who get rid of a product line, or a contract is terminated and the product is not bought back by the manufacturer. So the distributor has to move that product regardless. So they'll offload it onto like a third party, and it ends up. Another thing is salons not knowing anybody who are buying in volume and then selling it out their back door. So it's a big complicated thing. In our case, because we were under so much pressure to perform and meet really aggressive growth goals that were placed on us, we started selling out the back door. And my favorite moment of that is when we bought a new cargo van for the company with pallets of Shaper hairspray.
Oh, wow.
Like where somebody just came up and picked up like huge full pallets of Shaper, and then, we signed the paperwork and we had a beautiful new van.
Wow.
But that's, we're talking early 2000s. So the problem has only gotten bigger and worse and more complicated since then.
Totally.
It's called a gray market. And a gray market are alternative channels and sources where branded products are diverted from authorized sales channels such as distributors, salons, and spas to third-party online dealers. Brokers to the open market that have no direct relationship with the manufacturer. You don't know who these people are. It is incredibly difficult to find out who they really are. While consumers appreciate getting products more readily at a cheaper price, this marketplace eats up $63 billion of industry sales in the U.S. alone.
Wow.
Which is that's insane. And the largest issue was what we were talking about earlier. It's price erosion that's driving salon clients, particularly in times of financial hardship where every dollar matters. If you can find it for a cheaper price on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, etc., you're going to do that unless you're given a really good reason not to by salon owners or stylists.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like even, for example, some of the stuff in, this is something that I don't know if a lot of consumers understand about the products that you see on, say, Amazon or Walmart or eBay. You have no idea if those products are fresh, if they are expired, whether it's actually what is in the bottle is in the bottle. I mean, we have somebody, that was on Walmart.com selling our products, or eBay.com selling our products, and it was a curl defining cream in a jar. We haven't made our curl defining cream in a jar in 4.5 years. Yeah. So that product is probably 5 years old. That's 5 years old at this time. So
I wouldn't put it on
if they sell it, they're going to open up that jar. I mean, we've got some old ones because we keep all of our retained samples, and each batch product we keep to make sure, for efficacy and stability. And you open it up and it's like completely gone. It's dried out. It's done. Like that product is being sold. Yeah, that product's being sold on, on eBay.com. It's like people you really have no idea what's in that bottle, what's out there, whether it's been when it was made, whether it's expired. There's just no possible way to tell. And that's, what I try to tell everybody, our hairdressers, to let the customers know that. Let them know that, because they might be like, oh, it's here. And it's like, you're rolling the dice with what you're getting online, because that product, they could have had it for years. I've even seen somebody post a picture. One time our lab actually made a mistake, and they made the Redavid in gold when it should have been silver. And there was probably, I don't know, maybe 100 cases that were done before we found out that were out in the marketplace and sold. And, we were giving some out as samples before we realized it. This was 6 years ago. That product is still listed for sale on eBay.com. So that's a 6-year-old bottle of shampoo. That is not going to work, that's the stuff that you're risking when you're getting it, let alone, you don't know what's in it. They could have refilled it with some cheap product, used it, refilled it, and gone to sell it. So, there's no seals on it on some of those products. You just really have no idea.
I remember years ago, they used to go to Costco, and Costco used to sell big, huge gallons of shampoo and conditioner. And this person used to fill them up, used to put a label, and used to sell it everywhere.
Wow.
It was not a bad idea, but I know, but he sold it, so you don't know what you get when, you're in a retail store. You don't know, like Marco said, if it could have been expired or online, you really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those viral videos of people buying stuff at like Marshalls or Winners or TJ Maxx and pulling off a label to, a chi label to see some like random product underneath that we have no idea what it is, but people think they're buying chi or they're buying Joico, and it's just a completely different brand under there. That's one of the reasons why we actually use a custom mold for our bottle and for our packaging, with the, you can't see it, with the engraved R on it, because somebody can't, to knock this bottle off, you have to get a custom mold. Whereas some products that are just in plain normal white packaging with a label on it, all you have to do is have a label machine, and you can make your own label and put it on there and sell it for whatever you want.
Because custom packaging is expensive. Custom molds cost money. So a lot of times manufacturers, especially smaller, startup manufacturers, every dollar going into it counts. So, you go with stock bottles, and unfortunately they're really way too easy to knock off.
Yeah. There's tons of stock bottles, there are millions and millions of bottles. They're all stock
It's all
bottles.
about those Boston rounds, Leo.
I know.
Everybody's in a Boston round.
Totally.
I never liked them,
Yeah, it's we had ordered years ago, when we lived up in Maine, we used to go to an Aveda concept salon, and there was a shampoo and conditioner that we always loved, and they'd run out. So we ordered it on Amazon.com. It came. We started using it, and our scalps started burning.
Oh, wow.
So we brought it to the salon, admitted it was between appointments, and it was both a different color and consistency than what the product was on their shelf. So I don't know if it was either expired or if it was, packaging that was refilled.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff happens frequently.
Yeah.
You really don't know what you're getting.
I've always been the type of person, I don't buy much online. I don't know if I'm dating myself, but I like, I like feeling something. I'd like to try it on.
You ordering from the Sears Roebuck catalog, Leo?
I'm sticking to my old school,
That's awesome.
How
because it's the experience, Kenneth. There's nothing like it. You can order something, but when you try something on and smell it, and you can't smell that shampoo, online.
I agree with you. Yeah. So how do we fight it? How do we fight diversion?
Well, we have multiple different ways that we fight diversion personally as a brand. Number one, obviously, custom packaging allows us, it makes it difficult for people to knock off our product. Yeah. We also have 16 trademarks across our brand, which allow us to file copyright, trademark infringement complaints online against unauthorized resellers, which has been how we've managed to keep everybody off of Amazon.com, because they're using, our images and our copyright, and it's just not allowed. We also work with a company called eEnforce that we recently joined. They are a team of lawyers and private investigators, and they are working on getting our products off of Walmart.com and eBay.com. What they do is they have law enforcement databases, and they find out the actual identity of the sellers, and then we can work with them and send them cease and desist letters and get them off and let them know that, a lot of the times, sometimes people don't know that they're not allowed to be doing what they're doing, and they're very cooperative, and oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, please don't do this. And, Amazon is probably the easiest one because they have a 3-strike you're out rule. So if you've got more than 3 products of ours on your store, they'll shut down your entire store, not just the Redavid products. So, people are like, well, some people don't want to lose their livelihoods, and that's where they're making lots of money. So they comply. Walmart and eBay.com, I think we've removed about 19 sellers in the past 3 months working with this company.
Nice.
We've identified almost 85% of the sellers as well. It's a work in progress, and it's a bit like whack-a-mole, and you knock one down, another one pops up, but it's our commitment. It costs us thousands of dollars a month to attack this problem and to try to find solutions and to work with this company to get them out there. But it has been successful, and it's something we're going to continue, and it's our commitment to the beauty industry. So
for sure.
And we also want people to know through all of the things that we're doing, we want people to second guess taking Redavid product to put it in unauthorized channels.
Yeah. Because
you create enough noise and nuisance for these people, and it becomes not worth it. Particularly because one of the things that eEnforce does, these people operate behind shell companies and, fake LLCs. And so it's hard to identify who the actual owner and stakeholder is in these companies. Where, eEnforce, that law enforcement database, they're able to cut through all of that. So these people
knock on your door, your home address.
They get a cease and desist letter mailed to their personal home, to their personal email addresses, their personal phone numbers. That's pretty unsettling for these people who make a ton of money.
I think they'll be a little shocked when they find this.
Yeah. No, it's been very successful. It's been nice, and I remember the first time I got a phone call from it was Cosmoprof DSC, and she was like, "You guys are selling to Walmart?" I said, "Pardon me?" I said, "No, this must be a mistake." And she sent me the link, and I looked at it. I'm like, "What the heck?" And this was before I knew that Walmart was just a third-party seller. Anybody can set up a Walmart storefront now and sell products on Walmart.com, and something I didn't know, and I was shocked at it. And we've spent about 6 months trying to figure out how we could get those sellers off of there and get our products off of there, because to me, Walmart's even worse than Amazon, because people don't know that it's a third-party seller. So if somebody searches your product and all of a sudden they see they can buy it at Walmart, that little small writing where it says, shipped by so-and-so or, sold by so-and-so is not actually Walmart. And it's not, we don't sell to Walmart. It's just anybody setting it up, is unknown still. And I think people are starting to learn about it and realize that you can get anything on there. Like, sometimes, but somebody posted was selling a shirt that was offensive on Walmart. And people thought, there's this big uproar about, I can't believe Walmart's selling this offensive child's T-shirt or something like that. And then people started realizing, well, it's not Walmart, it's a seller that set up a store. So it's taking some education. But, that one for me was the most shocking and jarring, really, because Walmart is not somewhere where you'd be selling a luxury brand like Redavid, or where you'd find a $32 bottle of shampoo on their shelves, and it just hurts the image of a brand. So it's something we're working diligently to remove and to get our products off of there, and it's been successful so far, and we're going to keep at it. So
yeah, I think when it comes to confusion about diversion, Marco, I think what you just said is the single biggest misconception about how these marketplaces work, because anybody can open an Amazon store, anybody can open a Walmart store, anyone can open an eBay store. There's no third-party verification. some of these larger gray market sellers will have space because they're that large in Amazon warehouses. So those can still be fulfilled by Amazon. And a good way to tell is actually pay attention to the shipped by, who the store actually is. In some cases, if the actual manufacturer, then you'll see like a manufacturer profile. But 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's these independent people just kind of selling whatever on there.
That's, again, it's all educating the hairstylist, how Amazon work or Walmart or eBay, a lot of them, I didn't know, I didn't understand it until we got into it. And now I know.
Yeah. Busting down on it is, that's also a really satisfying thing too, when you see the products vanish after fighting them. There's a number of things that these companies routinely do that allow us to remove them. Unfortunately, the biggest issue, and not just for us, but many manufacturers, there's no law against you selling something anywhere. If you buy something, you have the ability to sell it anywhere, and that's called the first sale doctrine. And that's one of the biggest things that manufacturers face. In our case, because of both the trademarks that we own and a few other things that we have in place, we're able to really knock those people off and scare them off.
And also contracts that the hairdresser signs when signing up for an account as well, they're agreeing not to do that. So, they're in breach of their contract and breaking the law there. So,
yeah. Speaking of, how do salons fight it?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, price matching is one if they are, willing to do that. And that's something, to be honest, that I see a lot that salons don't do. They're so stuck on keeping it at full price, and they're not willing to sell it at any less or matching those. Obviously if it's $10-12 cheaper, it's just not worth it. I mean, they're losing money after their overhead and doing that. But if it's a couple bucks, price matching is one. Finding products that aren't available on Amazon is the easiest way to stop that, because that customer has to come back to you to buy it. They can't get it on Amazon. And that's one of Redavid's biggest selling features that we go, especially now after the pandemic, where so many salons lost sales to Amazon. The amount of salons that we saw with empty shelves, a lot of that too could be supply chain issues, but a lot of it is they've just given up on retail. They've just said, I can't compete. There's a CVS across the street. There's a Ulta across the street. There's, a HEB. There's an Amazon, 2-hour delivery in our area. Those things, they've just kind of given up on it. So, finding a brand that isn't available on Amazon is a big key puzzle. But like you were saying as well, tying it into a service, to an experience, doing different things like having a subscription service for products where it's automatically shipped to them and they're taking care of it that way. Those are ways to compete.
I find that I've sold tons of product to my customer. To me, I find they're in my territory. They're in my salon. They're in my chair. That client is mine. It's like whatever she needs, I am gonna, supply her. And it's all about the experience and the work that you do on that client, and especially hair. They see it right away that it's beautiful. They're gonna buy that product right there and then. So you have to really consult with your client and be able to, tell her about the product that you're using and all that kind of stuff. So there was not once that a client left my chair without having a product, on the front desk. So
he used to sell $8,000 to $12,000 a month out of his 8-chair salon. 700 square feet was his retail sales, and that was just with the Redavid product that he had on the shelves. So it was, he knew how to sell, but the people trusted him because my dad used to talk about it. He used to say, well, without this product, you're not going to get these results. And, a quick way to do that is grab one section, put the product in, blow dry it in, do a section without and see the difference right then and there before their eyes with and without the product. So, one of the things I hear so much from people is, I can never get my hair the way my hairdresser got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Never the way it was when I left the salon. Well, are you using the same products is my first question. And it's always, no, I don't know what they used. And that's another thing that's like, it hurts me when the customer says, I don't know what they used. The hairdresser didn't talk about it. And we see it a lot when we're in the salons. The hairdressers are just putting the product in their hands, putting it through the hair, and not actually talking about the product that they're using. And that's the number one thing. It doesn't have to be a sales pitch. It doesn't have to be you selling like, well, we've got Redavid orchid oil derived from Cymbidium orchids. You don't have to do that sort of sales pitch thing. You just need to talk about what you're putting in your hair, why you're putting it in their hair. And then at the end, something that he used to do really, really well is he would take the products that he used in their hair and put them on the front counter or put them into the hands of the customer. So just as simply as just placing it in their hands, they're more often going to want to buy it as opposed to here, no, I'm not interested in handing it back to you. So it's just a way to help you sell. Put the products you recommended, put them on the front counter, let them know what they are, talk about them. That's the easiest way to sell products.
I found the easiest way, is I used to put the orchid oil, I used to put it in their hands, and I used to teach them how to put it on. Okay, we got to do the ponytail first, then the other side, put a little bit on the hair. I used to give them a comb, they used to brush it, then I used to start my blow dry. So I used to always teach my client how to use the product. I used to teach them how to blow dry. So that hair looked absolutely beautiful every time. They went home and they did it without saying, oh, my hair is never the same. Yeah. So that's how I worked. And, I always teach every hairstylist that's coming up, from the schools and industry that always, teach the client what you're doing, especially a blow dry, because you want them to look really good. And when they go out and they say, wow, your hair looks great, then they're going to pop your name out there and you get an extra customer.
Yeah. Some products, they're tools to get to the look, really. That's what they are. So, if you're in school, electrical engineering, and they're showing you how to do a job with the tools, when you go out or go into the field, you're not going to be able to do that job without those tools. So that's the same thing when it comes to hair. It really is a tool to achieve a look, and that product, if you're not using it, you're not going to get the same look.
Yeah, it's impossible, especially with our product, the shine that you get and, the quality of the hair is just incredible. So,
when years ago, when I used to do a class at a beauty school, one of the components of that I would teach was teaching stylists how to do a proper consultation was one of the things that we worked on. And Tabitha's Salon Takeover is one of my favorite shows because every time that show was on, every single episode was her watching people do a consultation and not asking the right questions and not actually demonstrating their knowledge in terms of finding a solution for a client based on the condition of their hair. If it's dry, if it's damaged, if they're about to do a chemical service and a client needs something specifically after that to protect the color or to restore integrity or prevent protein loss. It's kind of like when you go to a really high-end restaurant and you get the menu. It's 2 sentences per item. You don't have the ingredient list on there because at the end of the day, we care about how it tastes. We don't care about the ingredients and the process that was used to cook it. And the same thing is true for beauty. I think because we are so subjected to regurgitation from manufacturers and DSCs alike, where we list off endless features and benefits. It does this, that, and the other thing. 1.5% bigger, more volume, 2.5 times more protein. It's gonna shellac your car. It's gonna pet the dog, and we list off these features and benefits. At the end of the day, you have to remember that you have to reframe those for the client sitting in the chair. The client does not care what's in the bottle. What they do care about is what it is going to do for their hair, how it is going to make their hair feel, how it's going to transform their texture. If they have fine hair, that it's going to give them more volume. You have to reframe your pitch based on how it is going to help the client achieve the look that they're really looking for. And I think a lot of times we forget to do that because we get lazy and we just become a textbook of product knowledge as opposed to a consultant.
You know, and I see it too. Like when my dad and I are out on the road and when we split up and we try to go out there and sell, he always sells more than me. Always. Because all I can do is talk about the product, the features and the benefits and you know, the ingredients. And he's just like, let me just show you. I'll just do it down. Let me just put it in your hair. You see the results, right? And for me, it's different. I can't do that. And it really is about, you know, putting it in the hair, putting it in the hands, trying it out, getting it in there, instead of just listing off and regurgitating those ingredients and that product. It's salesy, right? That's what it sounds like versus actually seeing and doing. So,
you know, one of the biggest fears that I saw a lot of stylists talking about during the 2020 shutdown is they were really afraid that, you know, with a lot of these home hair cutting kits and stuff that were coming on the market and customers trying to use TikTok hacks to, you know, trim their own bangs at home, which resulted in some pretty hilarious results.
Yeah.
You know, people may buy the Flowbee or attempt balayage at home, but the results are always awful. And, you know, just because we can do something doesn't mean we want to. You can repair your car, you can paint your house, you know, you could probably do your own plumbing, but, you know, those aren't our skill sets. It takes time to gain the knowledge. So, you know, customers always come back. Consumers will also spend on essentials. And a stylist is very essential in someone's mind.
Yeah, you know, the stylist goes through a lot of schooling, kind of, you know, it takes a while to learn that. And, you know, in 10 minutes, you ain't going to learn that on TikTok.
I also think that, you know, I think that this pandemic has also really shown how essential hairdressers are.
Yeah.
You know, it has kind of been like, you know, I've seen protests from hair salons. My hairdresser is essential. You know, I want to feel good. And there's signs up there. I love it.
T-shirts. I've seen bumper stickers. Yeah.
Totally. It's great. So
there's absolutely nothing like it. In my years of doing hairdressing, and, you know, you got a client in that, you know, she sits in your chairs and she tells you that she's sick and, you know, she's going to lose all her hair. And, you know, get a wig and you make her look absolutely beautiful again. There's a satisfaction, you know, that comes from the heart that just makes you feel amazing. And hairdressers really do a lot for the emotional, you know, thing for the client. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that a lot of people are struggling with now, Leo, to your point, is COVID-related hair loss.
Oh, stress.
Where the body is subjected to such intense ravaging and really fighting for itself that it leads to a temporary hair loss condition. So there's always opportunities there to be the voice of hope, to give customers understanding and let them know that, you know, this is something that's temporary. You know, there's some things that we can do to help you get through this phase, whether it's wigs or extensions or volumizing products, something that's going to rebuild hair density. And that's not something that Amazon can do for them.
Yeah, you know, it's all about customer service. At the end of the day, Kenneth, you know, we can go around and around, and, you know, when you have a client in your chair, give it the love and, you know, recommend the right product that she needs. It's done.
I say it's not selling, it's recommending, it's conversation. And really it just comes down to 3 simple words: tell, educate, and recommend. That's it. The worst they can say is no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything starts, when they go to school, and they got to learn how to do those consultation and be able to really be pleasant when you have a customers in. Sometimes we keep forgetting to go back to the beginning.
There's Mintel did a study on Salon Retail a few years ago, and this is my favorite brain bending epiphany statistic that I like to share with stylists. And it has to do with new clients. So brand new client walks in off the street, doesn't know you from Adam. If by the end of that appointment, a new client purchases 2 retail products from you, there is a 60% chance that they will return and rebook.
Wow.
If a client purchases no retail products from you, there's only a 10% chance of their return. And the reason for that comes down to a little bit of psychology. If you have done something specifically to get the client to trust you enough for you to take 2 products, put it in their hand, and for them to walk out the door with them, you've done your job in terms of building that relationship and that first impression from the moment that they sat in your chair. And that really locks in a long-term customer.
I used to put, when I had my own line in my salon, but when I didn't, I used to put a Redavid, sticker on it with the salon phone number on that bottle, because what happens every morning, she's going to use that shampoo. She's going to know where that shampoo came from.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that's everything that we can talk about in terms of diversion. Beyond really just educating yourselves and being more familiar with it. Don't give up. I think a lot of salons get really frustrated with this never-ending battle and turn to private labeling, which is something I've seen a lot of salons do. But also remember that the trick to private labeling is you're buying a stock formula. So even though your packaging has your logo on it, oftentimes, unless you're paying a premium, it's really hard to get a unique product beyond just something that in terms of ingredients or even performance is no better than what a consumer can buy in a department store or a drugstore.
Performance is the big one. I mean, those are formulas made by a chemist, not a hairdresser. So those are formulas that the chemist will say, well, this should make a good shampoo.
Yeah.
This is, scientifically, this is a good shampoo, but that's not always the case. And it really isn't. And, when I was telling our lab that we're making or I was at a trade show saying I'm in the works making a men's product, and this private label company in California was like, we've got tons of men's products. I'll send you some. And I entertained it. I said, oh, okay, I know, right? And so he sent me probably 15 different waxes and pomades and texture creams and shampoos and beard oils. And I tried every single one. And my dad was like, what are you wasting your time for? What are you doing? It's going to be junk. Don't even bother. I said, it's going to be garbage. And I said, we'll give it a shot. And I was like, help, Dad. I can't get this out of my hair. There was other ones that didn't do anything. It was absolutely awful. And it's just, that's a lot of those cheap retail products that are out there. If you're looking at a private label, just think about how cheap you're buying that for and how cheap that company's making it for. And that's, you can't get good quality ingredients at that price point and make a performing product. It's just not out there. And it's just junk. I mean, a lot of the times it is. It's just not good stuff.
I've worked with private labels forever, and it hasn't been till today, hasn't been one product of all the years since 1986 that I started this that I've used one formulation. Not one. And I've hundreds of shampoos, hundreds of conditioner, not one today.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that there hasn't been one ingredient.
Yeah.
So you get quality. You gotta pay for that quality, and everything comes down to R&D. It's all that testing. That's what it comes down to. You can have the best ingredients in that bottle, but you got to test it, and it's got to be a perfect balance for that hair. The smell and the feeling, and there's an experience when you're using the product on your body and your hair, and that's got to be really well packaged.
Yeah. Well, ending our episode here, I have another interesting history bite, and it ties in perfectly with what we've been talking about in terms of how you can fight kind of the Amazon intrusion into our industry, which always comes down to creating that experience. And Leo, you're going to love this guy.
Okay.
Because his name was Leo. One sunny afternoon in 1971, Leonard Pountney's doorbell rang. Now, he opened it to find a delivery man with a police escort and a package to him from Texas. Due to the nature of what was in the package, additional security was needed to ensure that it was safely delivered. Pountney signed for it and opened the box to find a clear toilet seat filled with gold and silver coins and a note from a client he had seen from Texas a few weeks before. It was an eccentric Texas oil millionaire who had traveled to Leonard's Harley Street salon in the UK for a hair transplant. So delighted was the man by his new crop of hair that he commissioned for the special toilet seat as a gift to his stylist. Pountney was touched. He took out an insurance policy for what he called his golden loo with Prudential and installed a burglar alarm. Leonard wasn't all that fazed, however, because his entire career in hair is as surprising as it was bizarre. Now, flashback to 1947, and ex-RASC Sergeant Leonard Len Pountney wrapped up serving his country, but had fallen in love with haircutting as he'd offered services to his fellow soldiers during the war. After moving to Hounslow, London, he purchased his first salon for £300 sterling and started his career based on two principles. One, if a man has no looks, he can express his personality through his hairstyle. To get people in the door, get them talking, give them a show. By the early 1950s, Pountney's uninhibited experimental method of haircutting had begun creating real buzz. None more so than the invention of his duck's rear haircut that became a staple of the teddy boy subculture and later adopted by greasers here in America. Pountney was dubious for getting bored very quickly, much like you, Leo, in terms of the styles that he was creating in his whole salon. So his salon went through a dramatic transformation every single year. As much as Pountney loved hair, he loved show business in equal measure, moving in social circles with everyone from circus performers to theater folk. Pountney was constantly inspired by their artistry. Scroll back a few days, and there was a cocktail lounge salon concept that he envisioned. Between 1955 and 1968, he tore apart and rebuilt the interior of his salon 13 times. Each year, a different theme, a different concept, from a Hawaii-inspired decor that offered beer scalp massages to his space-age take on the future of hairstyling, complete with tinfoil outfits. Pountney constantly reinvented himself, and by 1969, looking to the future and realizing that baldness and thinning hair would be an opportunity for the decades to come, he rebranded and reinvented himself for the final time, opening the Pountney Clinic that became the Harley Street hair transplant specialist. Wow. Following his meeting with the Texas oil millionaire, his clinic became the buzz for the well-to-do looking for discreet solutions to their hair problems. His clientele expanded beyond London, and he began working for people in the who's who of Hollywood throughout the 1980s. His clinic became one of the first to offer cosmetic surgery services. When he passed away in 2012, the clinic today remains active as his legacy, in addition to the resurgence of some of the classic 1950s youth hairstyles that he created back in London.
That's awesome. Cool. Love it.
That's the beauty industry. You got to keep on moving. I love it.
It's all about that showbiz.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I love it.
Final thoughts, Marco?
I think final thoughts, if you're struggling with retail and diversion is a problem and you keep hearing from your hairdresser or your clients that, oh, I bought it here, or, oh, I got it there, when you ask them, if they need some product, I think it's time to reinvent that shelf like Leonard and put something new on there and find something that's exclusive. Look for those boutique brands. They're out there. And it's not just Redavid. There's other brands out there. There's small brands that are there, but look for something that's different. Give yourself a point of difference than everybody else. Go do some reconnaissance. Check out the salons in your area. See what they have on the shelves and carry something different. That's my final thought.
Marco? Leo?
Don't worry about Amazon. You got a client in your chair, give it the love, give it the service, or recommend the product. You'll sell all the time. And I like the idea of being able to, put that client on a, shampoo program that they get it, all the time. I think that's great, especially if they love something and they know that the hair is beautiful every time. That's the key.
I guess my final thought is never remember that you can't be automated. A hairstylist can never be replaced. Never be afraid of being replaced. Amazon isn't yet sending drones with shears to cut people's hair in their homes. Yeah. So our industry is saved. And I think that brings us to a close.
Awesome.
We'll see you all next time. Thank you all for tuning in, and stay safe out there.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye now.